Hello, my friend, and welcome back. In this section, we're going to focus in on the area of communication. So, we said that there are four areas that generally make up the 80%, and of course, they will break down into different areas themselves, but you've got communication, leadership, design, and systems. So, let's have an introductory look to communication. When we use that word, what do we mean? Well, communication is the imparting or it's the exchange of information. So information starts here and it ends up over there. But it has to be a bit more than that. I mean, let me ask you a question. How many channels are there on your television? And how many of them do you watch? I don't know. Is there? I never scroll through mine. I think there's like, I don't know, 90 maybe. And I will take advantage of a handful of them. Now, all of these channels are pumping out loads and loads of information. But is it communication? It only becomes communication when somebody else sits down and listens and understands what is being said. Even within the channels I do watch, I don't watch the majority of the programs. So my relationship between that program and myself, well, it's ineffective because I don't receive the communication. So when we want to step into the area of communication, it's vital that we start to take responsibility. We've all been in the situations, well, I told them or I said to such and such. If you want to become a communicator, that really isn't good enough. I would say that communication is not so much about what we say, even though that's really, really important. Communication is much more about what the other person hears. We don't want them just to hear noise. We want them to understand our thoughts. Because something can be very clear to us on the inside, but when it comes out of our mouths, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I know one of the things, I probably say it too much, but when I'm working with my clients or I'm doing presentations, I say, does that make sense? And I'm not saying it because I'm feeling insecure that, oh, I need everyone to like me. I mean, it's nice when people do like you, but that's something we need to get over. No, I'm saying it because I need to gauge whether what I'm seeing inside me, what is going on behind my eyes, is making sense to the people who are in front of them. And if it's not helping. It's not enough just to make the noise. I was speaking recently to some business people on the south coast of the UK, and it was a real compliment and it meant a lot to me. But there was a lady there, she owned a company and had quite a few people working for her. And she said, I've done a number of these training courses, and within her field, there was some that she was required to do, but mine wasn't a required one. It was one she chose to do. But she said, they just stand out the front, they talk, we endure, they issue the certificate. And then she said, what I felt here is that you heard me and what you brought was designed to help me. And that meant a lot to me because I understood what I received from that was I was communicating. I wasn't bringing a generic set of information that I just dumped on people, but actually I was tailoring something that made a difference in their lives. And that's what communication is about. That's what I'm attempting to do in these short teachings, is just to communicate something of the immense value of this 80%, that this is the difference maker, and communication is a key part of that. I mean, another way we could look at it, you could have a couple of people walking down the road and suddenly a steel girder swings on a crane outside of the building site. It's coming across the road and one of them sees it and shouts, "Duck!" And the other one goes, "Where?" You see, the person spoke, the person's kind of communicated, but only halfway, because the person was looking for the wrong duck. Now, I know that's a lame story and the poor soul looking for the duck ended up with a headache. I get that. But how many times has that happened in your company, in your business, where you've heard someone say, I said, I said. One of the keys to being an effective communicator is it's not enough just to speak out. It is also essential that we learn to hear. And we have to listen for what is it. Now, sorry if I suddenly start sounding a bit confused, but we have to listen for what are the people we're talking to hearing. Have they heard what I said? How do I know? Well, I can measure it by asking questions. I can measure it by seeing what they do afterwards. I'm looking for how much is landing. Now, this is where we start to depart from just being okay to moving down the road towards exceptional. The temptation here is to put the responsibility fully on the listener. Now, I would encourage you as a grown-up, take responsibility for what you hear. The more accurately you hear, the more effective the information will be that you receive. And then if something isn't clear, you will be equipped to ask the right questions to get what it is that you need. But if we are going to be effective, we really need to take up that extra bit as well and take responsibility for what people hear. And if they're not hearing it, then we reshape and we remodel what we say until we can deliver it in a way that we do. You see, if you've got a team of, say, 15 or 20 people, or someone was talking to the other day, what did they have? A team of 30 people. And all of those 30 people speak language Y, and you're communicating in language X, there's no point in shouting. You'd be like the idiot Englishman on holiday who thinks if he shouts in English, the person from another country will understand. No, you just look an idiot. It doesn't work. If you want to speak to someone from another country, we've both got to be able to speak the same language. And the successful person takes steps to speak the language of the audience they're speaking to. Just saying it isn't enough. You know, a manager has to understand and properly communicate what is being said. You as a business person, as a career professional, you have to be able to communicate what it is you've got, what it is you bring to the table in a way that people can understand, in a way that your clients can understand. I've honestly heard business owners say, well, I've put it out there, and if they're not going to take it, they're going to lose out. Well, yeah, if you're any good at what you do, they will lose out, but you're going to be broke. You're not going to get the promotion. It's not going to happen for you unless you take responsibility. So let's round this up with a couple of questions. What messages are we actually communicating in our lives? You see, our lives are much more than the words that we speak. You've heard the saying, your children, they don't become what you say, they become what you are. Our whole life is communicating a message that's bigger than the words that we speak. You know, if you don't believe me, if you have a person in your life, that special person, just go up and go, yeah, I love you. What? I said I love you. I mean, that's just not going to go well, is it? And what message is our life speaking? When you walk into the office, what message are you giving off? Because we are communicating every waking moment. What areas of your life are you not being heard? And how could you change that? What could you do to improve the message that you're communicating and how people are hearing you? Thank you so much for joining me, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Bye for now.